So thanks again, everyone, for joining us for day 2 of the State Marketing Workshop and today's breakout session. As I mentioned, this is turning customer touchpoints into sales conversions with an automated marketing platform. And today's presenter is Spencer Griffith. Hi, Spencer. How are you?
Good.
He's from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. So join Arkansas Game and Fish Commission as they step through their process of onboarding a CRM system with an automated marketing platform to allow for the automation of customer outreach and sales promotions. AGFC will walk through their evaluation of platforms, handling of disparate data sources, initial drip campaigns, future plans, and also helpful tips. So with that, we will do the presentation. And if you guys can give me a thumbs up and make sure everything looks and sounds good on your end, that would be super helpful.
Today, we're going to take a look at the journey that Arkansas Game and Fish Commission on over the last several years as it relates to automated marketing platforms, specifically what we're doing with email marketing and the journey that we've had along the way. We're going to talk about the failure that we had in trying to execute one of these tools a couple of years ago and how we learned from that in order to find success. And ultimately, right now, we're looking at over $200,000 in profit from this last season that we were able to attribute to this particular program and transactions that came out of it. So hopefully you'll join me. I'm Spencer Griffith, and we're going to jump right into our presentation today. Today we're looking at turning customer touch points, or really engagements with a customer, whether that's email or text message or social media transactions, and how do we get that and consider that in terms of a sales conversion, actually getting them to buy it. And when I first came over to Game and Fish over 4 years ago, when I started to get into this and listen to successes from other states at conferences, we really knew that we needed to get more integrated with email marketing at our agency, especially related to license conversions. And for several years, we were just having to do this manually, and those were really painful times. A lot of times we were stuck out there trying to pull a data file late in the evening, trying to upload that into a system, have some creative already batched and put together, and trying to deploy that email before the next morning when more people could buy a license, and ultimately that email was kind of old at that point. And so this was just really strenuous on our staff, and we weren't able to do some of the cool things we were seeing other folks do, where you're having dynamic emails and people getting, messages about, you have 2 days left on your fishing license before it expires. Things that we know can also often drive, greater conversions. I mean, a recent study by Direct Marketing Association actually showed that when you put personalization in the subject line of an email, then it actually has up to 50% greater return. And so we weren't able to do those kinds of things with the manual process that we were in, and we were looking for a way that we could automate some of those things. And so we're looking for, really what we call an automated marketing platform. And what that means is a tool or a piece of software that can automate repetitive marketing tasks. Today, we're going to take a look at how we took our adoption of one of these automated marketing platforms, specifically with email early on, and turned an extremely manual process into one that's automated. And it doesn't mean that we, scrapped all the work that we're doing out there and can sit back. But as it relates to these email marketing channels and the different campaigns that we've created, largely we can step away from them for large periods of time and, let them work for us and come back and monitor them and make adjustments for improvement. So we thought, through talking with Stephanie and other folks at RBFF, that we would walk through what our journey was like. And we're going to share some of our successes, but largely we're going to tell you things that we did wrong along the way that hopefully helps you out, either you're running your own CRM and content, relationship management software, customer relationship management software, or if you're running an automated marketing platform out there that you're deploying different types of emails from. Hopefully our journey or our story can help you guys either improve upon or start your own journey. We had about 7 steps in this process, and for us we started with discovery, looking into different things. We'll go through each one of these steps, but move to requirements. Much of our design and development stage was kind of a similar sprint or process for us. Testing and deployment of this was, really felt tight and kind of on the same kind of category. And then maintenance, kind of the stage that we're living in today as we're looking at different ways to deploy more campaigns. But we'll walk through these sequences with you guys today. But if you don't mind, if you'll drop down your reactions and say, yes or no, are you actually running an automated marketing platform with your state or with your agency today? All right. Great. Thank you guys for jumping in there. We're actually going to continue to ask you guys some more questions in chat and stuff as we dive into this. So please stay engaged and jump into some of this discussion in the chat box. From the discovery phase, we really were looking at 5 steps for us. And the first thing that we really wanted to do was kind of put together what was a set list of really kind of simple goals. And for us, looking at some of the successes that we had seen from other states, it was really important that we focus heavily on that retention and that reactivation audiences, and that we primarily focus on getting campaigns up around license sales or license conversions first, and then that we could move more towards recruitment or the nurturing of some of those customers in other categories a little bit later on in our process. Then after we set our goals, we really looked at, okay, what data do we have that we can use today, and where can we get it? And for us, a lot of this was really kind of that same silo that you see in this image. I mean, we had alchemy data with our hunter and voter ed. We had licensing data. We had our education database, a communications database, an enforcement database, all these disparate data sources that were out there, ultimately all great content, all great information out there about a customer, but not working together for us as an agency and kind of just getting older and older over time. Another area that we wanted to do in the discovery phase is identifying our limitations. And this was really pertinent the second go around. I mentioned earlier that this was, Arkansas Game and Fish's, first rodeo at trying to build one of these systems out and automate some of our email marketing capabilities. And the first, try or attempt at this, we got a sustainable set of campaigns going, but it was a really expensive tool that we, kind of jumped into. We didn't really understand some of our limitations out there, whether it be staffing and other resources. We'll get into more of that later, but ultimately we just really failed to identify some of the limitations and then scale some of the decisions we made along the way to some of those limitations. So it's important for us, especially as we went through the second phase, to do that early on. We had to prioritize our outreach and really look for opportunities for different types of engagement. We wanted to explore all of the variability of what we could do, but then take a look back to our goals and make sure that we were building those campaigns first. And that while we were coming up with really great ideas, we had to start with the basics in some of those pieces. And, largely for us, that meant kind of setting aside, these really, really cool, innovative ideas like creating dynamic stalking alerts when people got to a fishing pier or those kinds of pieces. We still want to do those, but we need to do the things that we've seen other folks have a lot of great success with early on. We then took all of that information and we used that to evaluate tools in our second go around. So we looked at all of these tools here and several other ones. You can see here listed that we looked at a lot of different things about the tools, whether it be the reporting capabilities or the price, the different offerings of the platform and how well they worked with other pieces. You may have heard the word or the term API thrown around in some different conversations, and that really just means like the ability for and the ease of that particular software to be tied into other pieces of software or data storage. And so we were really looking at those types of capabilities, as well as like room for growth. Like, where can some of these tools, can they do more than email? Can we do social campaign? Can we automate social campaigns and tie those to our email? Can we automate text campaigns and tie those in? And so we had to kind of use all of our other discovery elements to kind of look through that lens for us and make a decision. Ultimately, this go around we went with Sharp Spring, and we'll kind of jump into some of those reasons in the next phase. So phase 2 for us was requirements. We looked at all the discovery and kind of understood what we had in the landscape there, and then we dove into those requirements that came out of that. And we knew for us to be successful in this process, we were going to have to aggregate our data. We were going to have to make sure that we took all these disparate data sources, that we really understood where they were and how solid of a data resource was it, how old was some of that data, what was the quality of some of it. And we made a really big mistake the first time and kind of assuming that there was going to be something that we could get out of all of the data. And so when we scoped those first solutions, we were thinking like we were looking at 3 million to 5 million, records. But when it came down to it, on the second go around, after cleansing all that data and really being honest about how many years back we should be really using emails based on people, how frequently people change email addresses and how quality that data was after some scans, we were able to really pare down our first set of email and data sources that we were down probably to about 10% of what we originally were looking at. So I would really encourage you, as you look to expand into your sources, make sure you're being kind of critical of the data that you have when you're trying to understand the number of kind of audience members you're going to start your automated platform with, because it really can affect the pricing. From a staffing perspective, this was something we really struggled with the first go around. And excuse me. Ultimately, what we had to do here is we had to be honest with ourselves about our internal limitations. And honestly, that's why we went with the Sharp Spring platform. The pricing was, pretty variable across the different pieces, but fairly consistent on the ones that we, liked, the products that we liked the most and felt like we could scale to. But our ad agency was actually using this particular piece of software. And from a staffing resource, this us leveraging it and something that they know and are in allows us to kind of flex our resources back across between in-house and our agency. I'd like to take a moment now to allow you guys to type in the chat. If you guys are on CRM platforms, or maybe you're just looking into them, maybe type some of those that you, either the platforms that you're using to date or other ones that you're looking at if you're in that phase. The next piece that we did in the requirements was appropriately scaling the platform that we were using. Like I said, we had some really big pie in the sky dreams for what we wanted to do with this, and we still want to achieve some of those goals, later this year, and even into our 5-year goals that we have out there. But we had to really take kind of a short-term look at what success looked like and how do we get there in kind of a rapid succession. So really for us, it was not like buying the best product that got us to all of the ideas down the road. It was really about taking a priority over the tool that could get us to market and get us to showing some ROI. And then, for us, this last step of requirement was looking at and evaluation of the conversion channels. And what I mean by that is, in different elements of your promotional marketing piece, you may think about conversions differently. But for a sales channel, really that conversion is buying a license. So we wanted to thoroughly understand what was a consumer going to be thinking or feeling as they were going to be migrating from hopefully one of these emails or ads that they were seeing from an automated platform, and then what were they going to see when they got there, and make sure we really had a kind of a seamless flow between that sales funnel. The next phase, like I said, we kind of combined a lot of what we did in design and development. So we'll take a look at some of the ideas that we came up with here. We kind of called these workflows. They're just different ways of campaigns or promotions that we put together based on different targets and different outcomes that we're looking for. And so for an automated marketing platform, we look to kind of cover some of our priority targets. And so we looked at the retention audience, and we really wanted to focus on sales conversions for them. And based on what we had seen at other conferences, trying to get away from some of that manual thing, one of our top priorities was creating a reminder drip campaign. We also kind of changed a little bit up in the way that we, especially content-wise, on looking at a lapsed audience and how do we contact those, and at what variability do we contact those maybe different types of lapsed audiences. So we really focused on the lapsed audience side, on some of those key learnings that we got from research and studies that RBFF and others have put out that kind of say, why do people phase out? And we kind of leverage some of those to create messaging and content that might be more relevant to them, so that we're not serving the same thing to a retention audience as somebody that may have been lapsed for 2 years. And so then looking at some other audiences, we prioritized and made sure we got those out. Then we turned to more of the kind of nurturing type campaigns where maybe we got a recruitment audience, somebody that's come pre-qualified, maybe they've gone to a class, or maybe they are, somehow in a fishing program at a school. Well, we're basically taking them, and we're not immediately the first time engaging them with a sales campaign. We're trying to nurture that, process through trying to advocate and educate them more about like fishing opportunities and places to fish, treating it more as an adventure and a place to get to, where ultimately we do have sales messages combined in there. Some other campaigns that were, put together was, birthday drip off of Calcumi data specific to like people who are turning 16, 17 that have never bought a license before. We've also got some other Calcumi triggers based off of other activities. And then we're, looking at different lead generation campaigns now that we can put out there, whether it be, unique text messages based on stalking alerts, or converting over our normal newsletters into this system so we can do some more learning, or notifications of fishing derbies, or different types of, fishing information out there. This is an example of one of those drip campaigns. This is a retention drip campaign. And so this is 7 different emails over like between 30 and 45 day period. We kind of adjusted it over time. And you can see in here that, we start out with a really basic email reminder. Then we may change that cadence or the timing, between the different sequences, and change some of that messaging out. So if they didn't like that message, maybe they would, respond to a message about stockings or places to fish, or, spots near you. And again, we focused a lot of our messaging from the insights that we got from different research out there to try to make sure that we're covering the gamut of the barriers or the reasons to participate. After we kind of completed the design and development phase, we moved to the testing and deployment phase. And I kind of just wanted to spend the time on this phase kind of talking through a couple tips that we learned along the way. In this phase, thinking about your email reputation is key. And so email service providers like Google or Hotmail or other folks out there, they're looking for to retain their customers. And so they want to make sure that those people are having good experiences inside their email. And part of the way they do that is to block emails that they don't think that their users really want. And so they're looking out there for folks that are phishing and detecting that and moving it away, or spam trapping, folks, or blacklisting certain emails. And basically what all that means is they're making sure that like the junk emails that are getting out there, the things that people don't really intentionally want to get, aren't getting to their inbox. So some things that you can focus on with that is making sure that you got a good domain. Maybe you can talk to your staff about using one that's already a part of your email campaigns that are out there that may already have a good reputation, and then focusing on like kind of deliverability tools do some of those pieces have out there. And then during the testing phase, we were really focusing on the different data triggers that we had going out there. Maybe like when somebody completed a class with Calcumi, and upon that, it triggered off a series of emails. That was something that was a little tricky that we wanted to make sure we got right. From a reporting perspective, it was really critical for us that we made sure that all of those components were working correctly, especially the end-to-end conversion tracking, and making sure we could track how many people actually bought based on the emails that we had sent out. And like I said, we've gotten a lot of great success from that, so we want to be able to kind of show it. And then finally, I think as you're looking to launch, I think it's okay to start small. For us, we wanted to make sure that we were sending out small batches of emails, focusing on our reputation, throttling stuff out so that we weren't sending big bulks of emails, hundreds of thousands of emails at once. We were throttling them out over, several hours. Even on the first couple sends, it was over several days. And then we honestly made sure that we were listening to our social media and our licensing folks as we were kind of sending these out, and listening for different input from customers, because they actually helped us find where there was some things that we needed to fix along the way. We had an individual that reported to us that he got an email that he shouldn't have gotten. All of a sudden that helped us to improve or fix the campaign. The last area that kind of go in as we're closing out today is the maintenance area. And so for us, what it means to be in kind of a maintenance phase for these particular campaigns doesn't mean that overall all of our CRMs are in the maintenance phase. For us, it really just means that these campaigns are, and maybe we're starting a new discovery phase for some other campaigns, but we're always looking to get more people to send these emails to. And so we're try to get creative about different lead generation campaigns. We've got a lot of database of people that we have information on, but we may not have the email. So we try to take that information, target them in other platforms, and run contests so that we can get their email address. They're really qualified leads. We just don't have the right tool for them, or the right contact info for them. Some other ways is to create content, unique content that's out there in the space. Maybe use your website to deploy some of that. We create some custom articles where people have to give us their email address in order to read it. Data is also a crucial part of this, and making sure that you have quality data that's out there. We made an assumption that year one, we're only looking at a couple of years back on email. People are giving us their emails because they have to get their license through us sending those emails. So kind of made an assumption that, this should be quality info. Maybe we didn't have to spend the time and money to do that. Boy, were we wrong. We really kind of almost created a bad situation on the reputation side for the first couple of sends. And we really had to just go back and do some really, fairly low cost, but important data cleansing, making sure that we were stripping out people who had abandoned emails in the last year, and that kind of stuff that got us, kind of in trouble as we first did. So focusing on some data cleansing is an important piece. I would say, if it's worth doing, it's worth reporting on. And, really this has helped us to legitimize where we're spending our time and our focus on, some of this automated process. And like I said, from the email sends that we, had done in the first phishing segment in the first part of our hunting phase, we really saw a lot of great success. And we've been able to more than pay for the work and the product that we're putting together. And, ultimately you're looking at that information so you can optimize and get better. And I'll leave with this one example, but, we're looking at open rates and click-through rates and different, trends across sends, and we just noticed that there's just a huge drop off after people hit that expiration date. So we've actually used this data to optimize and add some more emails or touch points out earlier in that cycle. Well, I hope this time spent today was useful for you guys. Hopefully that we can have some dialogue and some more questions as we turn to this phase to maybe some discussion about what other states are doing, or some niche things that we did that might benefit you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer, for that amazing.
Today we're going to.
Oh, there we go. I see the chat has been blowing up, which is awesome. And Spencer's been on all the questions and answers, which is so great and true professional here. Does anyone else have any more questions? Like I said, it's a bit more intimate here, so you can even unmute yourself if you want to chat with Spencer directly. I see Ben Page just added an additional comment there, but I know we'll be wrapping up. Probably see that little notification from Jay at any second. But Spencer, if there's anything you want to say to everyone, this time is yours, so please feel free.
Yeah, I think, largely we're all trying to do very similar things with different platforms and trying to figure out what's the best working, piece for all of us. I think what a lot of us have seen, I think they're asking if we could pull up that data cleansing again. I don't know if I have time to pull that up or if Kendra might be able to find that. I can certainly send it to you. Was there a specific thing that you wanted on the data cleansing? I can certainly email that over to us.
I just wanted to take a look at that again.
Yeah, well, we can email it over to you. I know that was one of the biggest things I wanted to share today, and I know we only have 50 seconds or so left, but hopefully we can all, email amongst ourselves to try to figure out, new platforms or ways that we can make this work. Data was one of the big issues for us, along the way, just because we thought with people buying, a lot of the people we're talking to buying licenses as frequently as they were with us, that we were going to be okay. And we ended up finding it a lot better to pay a couple $100 for a scan and stay out of deliverability issues. And we had a whole lot more people abandoning emails within that time period before even, that yearly, annual update than we thought.